Okay, we're here today with Delphina Young, and she's agreed to answer some questions about her culture's views on death and other things. Thank you for being here with us today, Delphina.
You're welcome.
The first thing I want to ask you is, how is taking care of the family viewed in your culture? For example, what would happen when a parent becomes sick and say they were unable to take care of him or herself? What are traditional family obligations?
Well, in my family, we are always we always are together in everything, and we deal with the problems in a family manner, so we don't have any conflict to know who will be taking care, it comes like naturally. Like I will, for example, if my mom is sick, I will say my mom is sick, so I have these days to take care of my mom. I will offer, so everybody will offer, and we will make like a schedule, and it will be coming like natural.
As opposed maybe to sending her to a hospital or someplace like that, or a nursing home?
Well, depends if my mom is really ill, we can't taking care of her in our house. Sure, we need to go to some hospital, but sometimes it's not because people can afford it. Well, sometimes, but for us, it will be the last thing to do, bring them to the nursing home. It will never be in my mind to bring my mom in a nursing home. I prefer to taking care of my mom in my house and bring all the attention she needs and deal with the problem. But we don't get the option for it's not like an option for us to send her to the nursing home. Sure, if she needs like a medical assistance, like a nurse, like 24 hours, it's nothing to discuss about that. So we need to do the things we have to do.
Okay, so basically the family is the one who feels obligated, and they take
Right.
care of the relatives.
Right.
Okay. Well, I also wanted to ask you about your culture's viewpoints on mental illness, in particular dementia, which is basically when you start losing memory. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but you lose memory and a lot of your functions mentally start to deteriorate. Would there be a reluctance to seek treatment for that, or how does your culture view that type of illness? Or is it an illness at all in your culture?
Well, in the point of to go to some psychology, in the past, we don't use a lot of, maybe because we can afford it, maybe because there were not a lot of psychologists or psychiatric people to do the job. We always think, oh, I'm going to some therapy. What, are you crazy? It was always in our minds, people is getting crazy, or you don't need to do that, you will be fine. So it was not like a big deal going to the therapist.
Well, where would you, was there a place that you would go?
Oh, yeah.
Where would you go if you had troubles like that? Who would you talk to?
Well, there are some office there to do therapies, and also most of the universities, they have like for people who can afford therapists, they have therapy hours, so you can go there, and they have affordable prices for people who can afford.
Okay. But as you said, people are kind of reluctant to do that because they think, oh, what are you, crazy? That's
right, because in our culture we were not used to bring people to the therapist. For us, it was more normal to go to the family doctor. But for mental illness, it was not. It was like maybe a taboo, or in our culture was not. There were not a lot of people or clinics to deal with people with mental illness.
Okay. So it sounds like some of was taboo, but some of it is it's not developed
right.
as much that particular profession.
Right.
What about spiritually? Would you rely on say like the priest or something like that? Is a priest somebody that people would go to a lot?
Yes.
Because I know the Catholic religion is very entrenched in Catholicism. Not everyone, but
right.
It's a strong part of the Mexican culture.
Right, and it happened to me when I was going through my divorce. I feel like stress. I feel like I need to go some therapy. But the first thing in my mind was I need to go to talk with the priest because he will help me to go through this tough moment in my life. So usually also they have the option to go to spiritual, like Catholic church, to ask for help.
Okay. What about traditional medicines? Are there any traditional like herbal type medicines and things is that still something that's used a lot, or have you switched over to Western medication and hospitalization, those types of things? How do you view that type of help when somebody gets sick or isn't able to care for themselves?
Well, I live in the north, so we are more close to United States. We are more able to get medical treatment, and also in the north part is more economical, is more money affluence.
It's
So
more
we can afford the medical stuff. Sure, we have some knowledge about herbs and for our past, about how to take care of people or medications like with natural supplements.
Mm-hmm.
But usually it's more in the south where the people is using like herbs, or they are going with like pseudo doctors. We call them brujos.
Kind of like that translates like almost into like a witch doctor. So
right,
kind of
right.
Like,
they use a lot in the south, and still they are using those kind of things. I never in my life went to some kind of ritual like that,
but you were aware of it. So in where you are in the north, you've kind of, even though that's still, you're aware of that type of activity happening, you've kind of acculturated more towards the Western ways of going to the hospital and taking medications and things like that. But you still use the others occasionally, right?
Yes, sometimes. Like if I have cold, I bring some tea or, like simple stuff.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about death. And just to start out about that, I would just like to know how accepting of death is your culture. Are there any type of specific things, like you're not supposed to talk about, or just in general, from when you grew up until your age now, what has it been like when you experienced death in your life? What things have you noticed?
Okay, usually if somebody died, like neighbor or people who I know, no family, we go to the funeral usually. But that time when people can afford it, the funeral was in the house. And you go over there and you stay maybe 1 hour or 2 hours in the house and just bring your respects for the family, and next day you are going to the funeral to bury the person. And usually people wear black even the kids were black. You are now allowed to eat food over there, just coffee and that's it. Some people bring music to the funeral, like mariachi, or some people playing the guitar or singing, depends.
Is that like just in the background, or do people dance, and or is it just kind of like background?
Not dancing, just
okay.
background. The usually music the people who is dead likes.
And is there any grieving process? I mean, like, is there any, for an extended, like, you're not supposed to do this or that for the next 6 months, or is there anything associated with after the burial? Is there something that your culture does or doesn't do, or you're not supposed to do?
Yes. For example, if somebody who is from my family die, I will be maybe wearing, for example, if my husband die, I don't want that, of course, but it's just some example, so you can have a idea what we do. I will be wearing black. My kids will be wearing black. I won't let the kids watch television or listen music. Everything will be peace and quiet in the house. And what else? Well, usually if you wanna get married again or something, maybe you need to wait like a year. Maybe a year. And we pray. We pray like 9 days, the rosario for 9 days. We pray, and when it's over, we bring like a food, like a buffet, and people who came to pray the rosario, they can eat, and we will say thank you to be with us and to support us in that hard part of our life.
Okay.